Details come out on the train cars carrying oil that exploded in Galena last March. Investigators say they now believe they know the cause.
Meanwhile, this incident and others pushing the federal government to act. With the thousands of tanker cars carrying crude through the state line, are residents in danger? Eyewitness News reporter Carolina Cruz investigates the risks of rail car roulette.
Rail cars filled with crude oil and ethanol passed by an area that 2 months ago was the scene of a fiery explosion. 7 tankers carrying crude oil suffer what investigators call catastrophic tears. Preliminary findings show it was caused by a single mechanical problem.
The tracks themselves had been inspected not long before this, so there was not a concern about the tracks themselves. What looks like this is being pinpointed to is that there was actually the axle on one of the rail cars. There was something that might have led to the derailment.
We just were lucky in this particular instance that the train derailment happened in an unpopulated area. There are only 7 homes in the evacuation area.
Here you go.
One of those was the home of Chet and Stateline Schuler, who live about 2 miles from where the train exploded. They saw everything from their living room.
It probably went up 200 feet, probably. Quite a sight, a lot of smoke, and it did smoke for over into the evening.
Galena's fire chief saying at the time that had it happened where the tracks run through the middle of town, people would have died. Just like what happened in Cherry Valley in June of 2009, when a Canadian national train derailed carrying 114 cars, including 74 tankers filled with ethanol. Do you remember what direction?
The train was traveling to the east.
Cherry Valley Fire Department Chief Craig Wilt took me to the scene where it all happened. The railroad tracks have been washed out by heavy rains. 18 cars derailed, causing a massive explosion, which killed a woman and the unborn child of another woman.
This side of the car that's not easily seen from the road is the side that slid down the derailed, and it was on its side for a while.
The fire department keeps at their training site one of the actual 30,000-gallon tank cars that was damaged, similar to the ones carrying crude oil that exploded earlier this spring in Galena. But the oil they carry today is more dangerous.
These rail cars are transporting a kind of crude oil that's more flammable than the type of crude that used to be transported in the past. And also, we are transporting many, many more times what we used to.
In fact, the number of rail cars carrying crude oil has multiplied nearly 100 times in the last 10 years, which means as the demand grows, the risk of derailments go up. And they have gone up. Since 2013, there have been 23 crude oil-related train accidents in the U.S. In July 2014, new rules were proposed to improve tanker safety, but were not passed by Congress. 9 months later, trains transporting large amounts of flammable liquids in some populated areas cannot go faster than 40 miles per hour. Now, new tank cars built after October 2015 must meet new Department of Transportation specifications, such as having thicker shields.
A tank car with crude oil, ethanol, or other type of material, you're talking about approximately the tank that's holding the material, about a ½ inch thick steel plate.
The tanker cars, which derailed in Galena, were newer and supposed to be safer, but still exploded. It's why local fire departments need to prepare for the worst, including having the resources needed to extinguish massive fires.
The foam that's used on like crude oil or diesel fuel is slightly different. So the issue is not that fire departments don't have foam, they don't have what's known as the alcohol-resistant firefighting foam.
Training first responders is key, and also knowing what type of material are transported among our communities.
A jurisdiction can determine what type of product moves through its county, on its roads, on its rail, on its waterways, what type of hazardous material goes through their jurisdictions.
But not all local departments are aware of this information.
Ethanol comes through several times a day. We're not sure on the new highly volatile crude oil. I don't know if any of that comes through our immediate area or not.
And Bustos worries the growing amount of oil coming in these cars down these tracks is a ticking time bomb waiting to go off if something isn't done.
You get to a certain point, though, where how much more time do you need to review something that by pretty much every degree of oversight, folks are saying this is a best practice?
Odds are not that it will in the same place, but odds weren't great that it ever would the first time. So if it happened once, it can surely happen again.
Carolina Cruz, Eyewitness News.
By the way, we did ask Union Pacific how many rail cars carrying crude oil passed through the Stateline area. They would not tell us, citing security concerns. For more information about our investigation you just saw, go to our website, mystateline.com.